guys, it's Shap from Lhyme.com, and I have teamed up with my girl Lindsay Feinberg of The Lunch Bell, and we are bringing you the first episode of Bagels and Baklava. Today I am going to cook one of my favorite khoreshes, which is a Persian stew, and it is a pumpkin and prune stew. This is an awesome fall stew. It's really savory, it's warm, it's comforting, and you serve it with some delicious warm basmati rice, and it is going to be gone from the table before you even know it. So let's first talk about ingredients and what makes a really good khoresh. It does vary regionally. My side of the family is from Isfahan, Iran, so we're going to talk, this recipe is more indicative of that region. Some areas do vary. There could be some that really want to add a lot of brown sugar. They want to add a lot of just different sugary spices and things like that. So you could add maple syrup if you wanted to. I personally opted not to add any brown sugar to this dish, but again, if you really like it sweet, you can do that. I think the prunes in this dish are gonna make it suffice and you probably don't need it. But if you want it sweeter, by all means, add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar or 1. So let's first start out. We're gonna have some really good dried limes. Okay, you can get dried limes at any international grocery store, but if you can't find them in your area, you know, I live in Kingston Springs, so it's not like they have dried limes just around the corner. So if you are in a pinch and you want to have that lemony flavor to your stew, just add 1 to 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice, depending upon how sour you want the dish to be. Secondly, I've got some delicious, well, it's just a really good herb, saffron. So you want to make sure that you get some really quality saffron. Make sure that you go to an international market and get it so it's not old, it's not just a really processed type of saffron. I really just recommend international market if you can get it. This is a fresh saffron that I have taken 1 teaspoon of saffron and I have steeped it in 2 tablespoons of water. Boiling hot water. So this is my saffron water, if you want to take a look at that. I also have 1/4 of a cup of tomato paste. And you also have basically you're going to have 4 cups of crushed tomatoes in this. So the tomatoes are really just you want to have a really fresh and tomatoey type of sauce. So you not only need the crushed tomatoes, you also need the tomato paste. Now, some people opt to use whole stewed tomatoes. You can do that as well. Just make sure you use the juice as well. I also have some fresh chopped up pumpkin. I roughly chopped it. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a stew. It's gonna look great. You just wanna have big chunks, okay? And I just used like a small pie style pumpkin. I also have 1 medium onion that's been chopped. I've got some dried prunes here. And we've got about a pound of cubed beef. Now, with the cubed beef, you can also substitute it and use lamb or goat. So either one of those will work great. You can even use beef shank if you're really feeling froggy, and that's delicious too with it. So now let's go on to the spices. So what I did, I've got, you can salt and pepper this to taste. That's first of all. Then you're gonna use about 2 tablespoons of good turmeric. Make sure you get some organic, fresh turmeric, or hit up your international market if you don't have it at your store. I used some coriander. I used about a teaspoon of coriander. And then in lieu, you can use the sugar as well, but please make sure to use about a teaspoon of cinnamon in this. It's gonna be really good. It'll give it a little kick. And these are just some of the alternatives. So I have, now this is just tomato paste, just so you guys can see what tomato paste looks like. Now, you can also use, I use for this recipe, and I've already used one up, but I used a homestyle beef stock, and this is really easy because you can just pop it in. It's condensed beef stock, and I chopped my little finger up from chopping up pumpkins today, so that's an excuse of a Band-Aid, but you can use a homestyle beef stock that is really good. Just pop it in there. You can use it with some 3.5 cups of boiling water, and that will create that. But you can also get, bone broth, chicken broth. I've got just standard beef broth, whatever is handy for you at the store. And also, we're gonna include the recipes for these in the descriptions and the photos that we share later on. So if you really wanna make this and you wanna know exactly what I put in it, we'll be sure to have that in the description of the videos. So I used about 4 cups of a good beef broth. Now, you can also use bone broth. I would recommend bone broth, but again, if you live somewhere the bone broth is not handy, you can certainly use some beef stock, you can use some chicken broth, you got all these options, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna incorporate these ingredients into an Instapot, and we're gonna cook them in the Instapot. So the first thing you wanna do is take your beef and your onion, and you're gonna saute that in the Instapot to make sure it's browned. After that, we're gonna take all of the ingredients and pop them into the Instapot and cook that for 25 minutes on high pressure. And then we'll do a manual release, and it's ready to go with our rice. This is really quick and easy way. Now, if you don't have an Instapot, you can certainly saute your onions and your beef in a pot, in like a Dutch oven if you want, and you can cover it cooked on a slow simmer for about 45 minutes, and that will make it work. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of, you can use vegetable oil, or I use grapeseed oil, and we're gonna saute our onions and our garlic. We get our garlic, get everything moving in here. Get a good saute happening. Saute for just a few minutes here so it's nice and translucent. So we're just gonna let those rest for a minute. And as you can see, it's a nice and golden situation happening. We're gonna saute these onions until they're just a little bit translucent, a little bit golden. All right, now that we've got it just a little bit nice and translucent, we're gonna add our beef to this and let our beef brown a little bit too. Let's go ahead and add some more seasoning. Okay, so then we're gonna add some salt and pepper to season it real nicely with some fresh ground pepper. And a little bit of salt to taste. Got a little pink salt happening here. I'm gonna add my turmeric that I've got. Got some fresh turmeric over here. And we're just gonna let this cook up just a little bit. So let's just go ahead and cook up real nicely. Make sure your meat, just cooking it up until the meat is browned on all sides. We don't want it too cooked up because we don't want it to be hard, because it's gonna do a lot more cooking in the pressure cooker for us. So we're just cooking it up until it's brown on all sides, okay? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our cinnamon. We've got a little bit of cinnamon here. A little bit of coriander. We're gonna go ahead and add our pumpkin. If we've got fresh pumpkin in here, that we're gonna add. I'm gonna add some pureed tomatoes. We're also gonna add our saffron water. We've got the prunes. Excuse me. We've got a little bit of tomato paste happening here. Putting some tomato paste in there. We've got our beef broth going in there nicely, and it's settled down a little bit. We're going to give it a nice little stir here, get it all good and incorporated, nicely mixed. Everything nicely mixed. Make sure it's all fully incorporated so that you don't get chunks or anything after the Instapot's been cooking. All right. And then the final touch, we're going to add just a few of our lovely dried limes. 5 dried limes in there. Let's get them in there. Let's submerge them, get them a little wet. And time to add our lid. And we're gonna get this bad boy going. Pressure cook 25 minutes, and we will see you in about 25 minutes. All right, y'all, I am back. Magic of television, 25 minutes lapsed, and here I am with this delightful stew. So I've got, and let's take a look at this beautiful stew. It is pumpkins, prunes, onions, savory, just yummy. And then we've got some yummy basmati rice on the side. And you just go ahead and serve yourself a little bit of rice. And there you go. I'm gonna try just a little sample right here for myself. And that way you all know that I actually ate this and it does taste good. It is so good. Mm. Oh my gosh. It is sweet. The sourness of the dried lemons is kicking through. And you know, the dried lemons, they actually will get a little, they'll rehydrate basically in the pressure cooker, and you can actually squeeze them over your stew, and it kind of gives this really rich, sour taste to your stew. It's just absolutely delicious. Highly recommend this. This is a great fall dish while pumpkins are in season. And we will have the recipe. So we are so excited for y'all to check out Bagels and Baklava and tune in for our next episode. Have a great day, y'all. See you next time.
من آمده